I made that bench, mate. You're calling it uncomfortable.
Did you?
No, it's just made of wood. Did you make the wood?
I bought it from Bunnings.
God made the wood. All right.
No, this is an IKEA table that we bought online ages ago. No, the bench I made when we first moved because I couldn't find anything long enough. It's not very well made. Like, it's well made in the sense that it's strong, but
It looks good.
I was gonna try and do it a lot more like
I thought it was from IKEA.
nicely, but then the boys started drawing on it and scratching it, and I had a bunch of tools when I moved as well because I was doing building. So then I was like, oh, I'm a builder.
You're everything.
I was a roofer, mate.
Leader, pastor, builder, barber,
Stole my stuff.
father,
Misogynist.
mother, professional,
Full-time misogynist.
full-time woman, lover.
Well, don't say it like that, bro. I'm not a lesbian. What? You said a full-time woman lover.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the argument that there's only G? Like in the LGBTQ plus IA, there's only actually G.
Because L is G.
Because L is actually G. You've heard this. People have said this funnier than I could ever say, but
G.
everything is effectively G.
What
There's
about
no
B?
B.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
There is B.
Well, there's not B.
Well, because you swing both ways if you're B.
But that just means you're too embarrassed to be fully G.
Well, you're just not exclusive.
You don't want a full commit.
Fair enough. Right, I see. You're half
See,
G.
but you see, even are we gonna? Is this gonna go on?
This is recording. We don't have to leave this.
No.
You can tell
I was
about your
about to
B
tell-
experience.
no, I was about to tell you about a
Fiji.
relative, one of my relatives.
Oh.
But no, I won't do that.
No, don't tell us about them. A relative, eh? Who you see in the mirror.
You got something in your eye. You got something in your eye.
No.
What that you described it was like a trans bisexual thing? It was like
Oh, no. Yeah. What was it?
Wait, cut this out of the.
yeah, for sure.
No, it was because
We can't start with this.
there was a term that came out.
Semi-bisexual,
Semi-bisexual, yeah.
which means straight.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah, so remember last year we had that team day and then me and Arian we kept laughing about semi-bisexual? And it was like this, it was like this term that was genuinely being adopted
Right.
so that you couldn't be like gender
saying you're
conforming.
straight
Just
is
saying you're
like-
straight suppressive. So you're semi-bisexual.
Which means you're bisexual, but only to the opposite gender. So you're only semi-bisexual.
It's just using.
Yeah, that's
Nick just gave
That's
us
the
like
appropriate reaction.
Nick just gave us the most clear indication of his like generation that he's from. He's like, these kids,
It's
these
like
kids.
it's over. Everything's overcomplicated.
It is actually.
Go back to straightforward, simple life.
Yeah, tell us about it.
what I wish for.
Yeah.
Man, I remember riding around the neighborhood on my bike playing Lord of the Rings. We always used to fight over who could be Legolas.
I didn't play. I was too old.
You were there when Tolkien wrote it.
Obviously, I was basically an adult when the movies came out, and the Lord of the Rings had been around obviously as books, but it didn't. It had a kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, kind of following.
Vibe.
That's not true. It's a
fringy.
very popular book, but pointers or book series.
Yeah. I'm just going to turn your mic up a little bit.
I might have been riding around on my motorbike
Oh.
at that time, not my bike.
Wow. Never seen the shows.
The shows.
You
You
mean
watched
the-
the movies, eh?
No, sorry, never seen anything.
You've never watched
Lord of
Lord
the
of the
Rings?
Rings?
No,
Bro, you're
Not The
so
Hobbit.
lame.
not Lord of the Rings.
Don't watch The Hobbit.
You better go and watch those.
Really?
movies. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should. As a New
Have
Zealander,
Have you actually never watched Lord of the Rings?
No, I genuinely
watch the Fellowship of the Ring. Two
Just like from
Towers,
start.
Return of the
Okay.
King. Those three. I mean the other.
The Hobbits or whatever.
Yeah, but watch
they're not related, eh? Hobbits.
watch the
and
They
first
are,
three.
they're
Watch the
prequels.
first three.
Watch the first three of the Lord of
Yeah.
the Rings. They are related, Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, well, same author, same sort of like world.
The prequel.
Oh,
set
wow.
at a different time.
Interesting.
I
Yeah,
just
it's a
can't even
prequel,
look at
yeah.
you right now.
Well, it's not a prequel because he
Look
wrote
away.
The Hobbit first, and then he wrote
The
Lord
movies
of
are a
the Rings.
prequel. Yeah. The movies are set as a prequel, but it's.
Yeah.
But can it not be called a prequel?
Well, in terms of the chronology of the story, The Hobbit happens
It
first,
comes first,
but
yeah.
the film was made after.
They don't double
first.
back.
I'll
But
just
it's
go
Star
watch.
Wars,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll watch
yeah.
from whatever was released.
So tell us why you're against bullying.
I'm not against.
You're wearing that pink t-shirt,
I
man. You
must
better speak
segue.
up.
Yeah,
It's got messy. Hey,
It is.
Is that messy?
It is a messy shirt.
Okay.
Yeah. I wore this in honor of what's happened with FIFA over the past
Last
week.
Have you seen this? The FIFA match, the Pride match. Have you not seen this?
No, I'm
Tell us.
Oh, really?
together.
Tell us.
Before the World Cup was planned and the games and matches were all set,
pools were drawn.
the pools were drawn. FIFA set a date for a Pride match. So one of the matches that were going to happen was called the Pride match to celebrate,
Yeah.
the rainbow community
It's San Francisco.
in San Fran. And what's happened is that the two teams that are playing are Iran and Egypt, which are not particularly fond of the rainbow community.
No,
No,
I can
not at all.
imagine.
And that's, you know, putting it lightly.
Interesting draw, yeah.
So it's just become really ironic and funny, and it's just the great comedy of life.
I mean, it's I guess the NBL right down this way,
Yeah.
Yeah,
where the Breakers and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Taipans, they were
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're just not going to do that.
Or did another team say that?
Yeah, there was another team. There was a team in Aussie that had also kind of reached a similar conclusion, but of course, the New Zealand media were up in arms about the Breakers refusing to do it, and clearly, you know, there were some in the team in the New Zealand Breakers who felt very strongly that they shouldn't participate in this type of thing. They wanted just to
I wonder
play
if it was
ball.
like a faith-based decision,
I think
or
so.
whether it was just purely sports. Because I know a lot of athletes are sick of it.
I think there were probably members of the team that were doing it for faith-based reasons, and I think others were like, yeah, fair enough. It's getting too political. We don't need to do this.
It is getting super political. Well, I'm going to watch that match with a lot of
Oh,
enthusiasm.
absolutely.
A lot of engagement. I hope you wear that jersey.
I'll be supporting Iran till the very end. In that context, in the footballing context, and only in the footballing
A
context.
true son of Iran.
Yeah,
You're
and no,
Damascus
no
and
further.
Like in New Zealand, we're all Kiwis, even if we have different political affiliations, right?
So speak for yourself,
That's true.
mate. Speak for yourself.
I knew you were going to do this.
What?
Separatist.
I'm not a separatist.
Here you are.
I just want to resegregate.
You want to resegregate? What does that mean?
Between what lines?
Well, I don't want you in the same spaces as me at university. First of all, I want my own
Why?
protected
Based
spaces.
on what? What's the offensive identity characteristic that you
You're
don't
oppressing
like?
me
In what sense?
visually. My eyes are offended. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Nick, honestly, I don't know. You always drag us into these areas, man.
I don't drag you. You drag yourself into it.
IKEA last week we didn't record because of the IKEA traffic.
Yeah.
I
And
wouldn't
apparently,
update.
apparently it wasn't even there.
No traffic.
No traffic.
It was
Yeah.
literally zero traffic.
But the Prime Minister and what?
Two
Minister-
MPs, Minister
yeah,
of Health and Greg Fleming.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
all there.
They were there.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I didn't even see that in the news. I didn't see the news getting upset about that.
Wait, did they get upset about that?
Yeah, they're like,
What?
Why is the Prime Minister at the opening of IKEA? There's bigger issues in our country.
Like what?
Well, I mean,
I can't think of any bigger issues than IKEA.
cost of living, obviously, which IKEA is helping with by giving us cheap furniture.
the
Yeah,
number of like buildings and facilities around the country that have been opened by prime ministers is just standard. It's part of your job when you're prime minister.
Yeah, I think he
IKEA's
did
a
see
big deal.
Ellen. It was said John Key opened the building. So actually talked about it. She goes, "Oh, John Key opened the building that I'm in, like how many years ago? No one got upset about that."
Yeah, that's common practice
People
for prime ministers.
complain about everything.
Governor
Yeah,
generals,
yeah.
prime ministers, you go around doing that stuff.
Have you ever opened a building?
I've opened the door to a building.
That's not what I meant.
Actually, no. Let me clarify. I was involved in the ceremonial opening of a school in India.
What the heck?
All right, have I ever told you about the time I went
That's
to
so
Nepal?
random.
Yes,
And I
you
went-
have.
I went
But
to
please
Nepal.
tell everyone else.
Nah, so this is related, right? Went to Nepal on this trip with my father-in-law,
Yeah.
who does like missionary work. So I went to help him, me, my brother-in-law, my father-in-law, and then a guy that he knew, young guy as well, brought him along, and sort of was like the four of us. We're with this guy, super nice guy, like one of those people that you're like, oh man, bless his heart, but just like not really
Filipino fella.
No, he Kiwi guy,
Kiwi
but
guy.
just like kind of oblivious to some pretty clear red flags. Then tells us a story about how he used to be in charge of missions for his local church. So he would be in charge of like sending money out. And he found this orphanage in India that he started funding with the church's finances. So he'd send them this money and they'd get all these updates and they build this relationship. Anyway, gets to the point where he's like, well, I'm going to go visit them. So he flies to India to visit this orphanage that he's been
Oh,
funding.
no.
Oh no.
Finds out that they are like a human trafficking ring. He's been paying to send all these people through human trafficking, sex slavery. Obviously is like removed from his role at the church and leaves the church. And then I'm like, was there any red flags? He's like, nah. But then we heard about 2 or 3 other stories across the trip, really similar, where he just missed these huge, obvious red flags.
What the hell?
So all that to say, I hope the school you opened in India is actually a school.
I've been there more than once.
Oh, repeat customer.
And yeah, and I would say that there are those problems. You got to vet these organizations. You've got to go there. I've been involved, in supporting similar work in Africa, and there are stories.
I don't know why.
I already
look,
just looked at my, because I put my leg out, he looked at my foot, and then it looked like he was scared, so I touched him.
Certain things haven't under the table. Goodness
He's wearing the
me.
pink t-shirt. It's like when a bull sees red. It's
When you
confusing
see
me.
pink, you just.
My brainwaves are getting scrambled.
I think I'm going to retire, guys.
I didn't know you
Sorry.
got a cross dress today. I'm just
I'm
confused.
not cross dressing. It's a nice football shirt.
Me and Nick wearing black because we're men.
And I'm
Come on
wearing
now.
pink because I support everyone.
Look,
Everywhere.
some guys can pull it off.
Arian's
Pink-
complexion.
Pink.
Yeah.
I can't do pink.
Really?
It just doesn't work for me. No.
We should all do pink next week.
Have
Nah,
you
I hate that.
have you heard about people having seasonal colors? Right. So some people are a summer, some people are an
Oh,
autumn.
I've heard, yes, girls
Some
talk
people
about
are
this.
winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard girls talk about it too. Why are you talking
No,
about
but
it?
like, see,
No.
my wife and my mother-in-law, like they have talked through this and explained to me how this works, and I think I understand it.
Do you
Are you
know
a
what
winter?
you are?
I'm a winter. Yeah.
Does that mean you wear blue is more suited to you?
Nah, black's greys.
Yeah. I do tend to wear a lot of black.
Yes,
You'd be a spring, I reckon.
You reckon? I love spring.
You got a nice complexion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think
Tell
it's
me
big in
more.
Korea. If you go to Korea, I made a joke, but I do know about it as well.
Really?
I take my joke.
Okay.
In Korea, they do it. They have experts who do it for you.
Yeah.
Feng shui.
Well, that's Chinese. Sure.
That's got nothing
Similar
to do with
region.
it.
Similar region.
Feng shui is how you design your house. Anyway.
Ni hao.
What are you gonna say? Sushi. Like, what else do you want to say?
Like
No,
a
well,
friggin-
to be fair, Koreans do have sushi, and it's
Do they?
probably it's a result, I think, of the Japanese influence because the Japanese were kind of their colonial overlords at one point.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Wow.
Is it modern day Japanese people heavily ancested by Chinese, or is it the other way around?
No, I would say that I'm not an expert on this, but my understanding is that the Japanese people, they're obviously related because they're Asiatic, but
Yeah.
they've been pretty distinct as a people group for a long time.
Yeah.
But the Japanese did colonize large parts of China, like Manchuria and those sorts of
Okay.
areas. Yeah.
Because I've heard that indigenous Japanese people who were sort of in the mountains initially and then voyaged across the sea, you can trace even Pacific nations back through, and they
Taiwan.
look very similar. Like, so
Taiwanese.
Taiwan, but even like indigenous
In
Japanese,
Japan, okay.
apparently they look quite Pacific in some of their features.
Maybe they were part of that same wave of migration.
And that's what they talk about
Moving.
with the Hawaiian shirts were inspired by kimonos. Have you ever heard this?
No.
Because like you look at a kimono and it's like flowery and they've got
Yes,
designs
yes,
on them.
yes,
And then you
But
look
sure,
at
though, the Hawaiian people before Europeans arrived didn't have those sort of textiles, so they would have had similar clothing to like Maori and
yeah, I
other
don't think
Polynesian
King
groups.
Kamehameha was wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah. So where would that? How
No,
did
I'm
that
just saying,
influence come into it?
influence. You know, I'm listen.
Maybe because there's a lot of Japanese that when the Americans kind of took over Hawaii, there were a lot of Japanese that actually did migrate to Hawaii. So that maybe it's a more modern phenomenon.
I mean, Hawaii's probably got a bit of a mix of love-hate relationship with the Japanese, I imagine.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people in Hawaii that are of Japanese ancestry over the last 200 years.
Well, the more you know, the more you learn. Look,
The more you know.
the more you know, the more you learn. And that's so the Costa interview.
Yeah.
Thoughts, feelings, opinions.
I watched it and I the first takeaway I thought was, oh, you should take more notes, because he was talking a lot about these informal meetings and these informal briefings that he'd had with ministers and former prime ministers and things, and Jack would ask him, well, do you have any evidence of this? He's like, oh, well, no, and he's like, oh, I probably should have written it in my diary, and so that was my first thing. My thought was, you should probably take some notes.
Well, the IPCA made their inquiry, their report made a point of that, of saying
Yes.
Costa had, a very hazy kind of recollection of a lot
Yeah.
of events that they found difficult to
Corroborate.
Yeah,
corroborate,
exactly.
and that others seemed more accurate in terms of their
Yeah.
recollection.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Which is fair. And I might just have a soft spot for someone who looks, tidy and sits in front of a camera and just says, I made a mistake. But I did appreciate what he had to say. I appreciated the approach that he took. Not,
You can
not,
say that. You can't say the stuff about Nick Fuentes
not, no.
that's sympathetic, but you can say that about Costa.
I think I will say that about Costa.
I'll let that pass.
And that's not to excuse all of his mistakes
No,
and
sure.
his failings,
Yep.
but I think the approach of showing up publicly and saying, "Look, I've screwed up," and saying, "I don't have answers to these things,"
Yeah.
and I appreciated that. That's my. That's my
I
take.
agree. I think
Uncertain.
he didn't have to front,
Yeah, he didn't.
and I think that I don't think that it was to try and like launder his image either, because he's
Well, he
lost,
didn't. Yeah.
no, he's lost the trust of Kiwis, and his interview won't change that.
No.
But I think in some small sense, yeah, you can give him credit for that, for fronting.
You weren't too convinced
Well, I mean,
by the eyes.
it's one thing to come forward and publicly disclose these things and lead the
Yeah.
story. It's another thing to be caught with your pants around your ankles and then later be like, well,
Well,
wasn't exactly how it
that's
looked. You know?
Jevon McSkimming that was caught with pants around his ankles. But anyway,
Yeah, but I think if anyone
literally.
undid the buckle,
Oh, right.
oh, you took us there. You took us there.
no.
No, all I'm saying is sure. It's good on him for fronting in a sense. Like you say, he didn't have to do that. There's plenty of people avoiding media accountability right now.
Willie Jackson.
Who we won't name Willie Jackson. But anyway, he didn't have to show up. And I mean, especially to Jack Tame. That's a bold move.
Yeah.
Part of me wonders whether he thought he would be able to pass enough of the blame. But you can't pass blame if you don't have receipts. So again, it comes back to record keeping.
Do you think he was trying to pass? Watching that, I didn't feel as though he was passing blame.
Well, it's
per
not that
se.
he
Do
was
you-
like trying to get rid of all of responsibility, but he's like, these guys knew as well. Like these guys were in on it too. And I told them, I saw a really interesting comment from I think David Farrer, who said that he believes the conversations did happen, but not in the context that they were being portrayed. So he believes that they happened in the context of, hey, this is a situation happening. Just letting you know, I'm handling it. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Which I find to be a far more believable story than, hey guys, this thing's happening. What should I do?
Or just FYI, this is happening.
FYI, this is
Done.
happening.
Yeah, but I think that that people like Hipkins, in trying to pretend that they had heard nothing, were not being straightforward. They were
Did
not being-
Hipkins come out and say he knew nothing though?
Both ministers, I think, came out and said
Yeah, they talked about
The-
the first
the-
I heard of anything.
the
Mitchell
alleged
said the first
conversations
he'd heard
had
was the
never.
6th of November, right?
Yeah.
And then Costa's trying to say he told him 3 weeks prior.
Yeah, no, I would say that was a bit vague, because Costa couldn't say when it was, you know, what the context was. He just remembers saying something to him before that date. Hipkins, he was more specific. He was like, yeah, we were in the back of the car. We were down in South Island, you know, at an event.
Yeah.
And I had this conversation with him. But the point is that in both cases, they were both, he disclosed to both of them. Now, whether the two of them remembered, whether they made any, you know, saw any significance
Yeah.
in that disclosure, that's not really the material kind of
Yeah.
factor here. It's like they were told. And listen, if there's a problem with Mark Mitchell not getting emails or remembering this stuff, then okay,
Now, people,
it might be in good faith. But
Yeah.
he's not trying to avoid this. Or he doesn't remember it, but
people
still
are
trying to
getting,
reach out to him.
People are getting up in arms about that whole thing of like, why didn't the minister get the emails directly and all this and that? This is not an issue of I don't believe it's an issue of Mark Mitchell being dishonest. I think this is an issue of bureaucracy in general.
Sure.
Where he's got these different portfolios. Each portfolio seems to have a different EA or PA.
Yeah.
And then how often have I told you guys about when I've tried to contact ministers?
Yeah.
And I get someone's PA to the PA responding to me.
Yeah.
They failed to book like we had that meeting the other day that they booked in without even telling us, and then rung to cancel. Luckily.
Yeah.
So I actually, I don't think it's like a scapegoat, like, oh, Mark Mitchell, no responsibility. But I do think this is just what happens when you have all of these sort of managerial class middle managers who are monitoring emails, not reading them effectively, not responding on time. Like, I guarantee you that went to someone's flagged folder and they just never went back to it.
Totally. Like when we were when I was at the FSU at the union, we had a database of say, 100,000 people who on our email base, and I would get just hundreds of emails into the inbox about a whole lot of stuff. And that's just an organization with 100,000 people, and let's just say like 20,000 of those are actually engaged.
Engaging, yeah.
And so out of those 20,000, if you're getting hundreds of emails every day, and I'll just filter through them and it wasn't anything major. Now imagine that at scale at a government level where it's like the Minister of Police or something. The number of emails that they'd be getting
but
into the inbox.
we're not talking about emails from Joe Blogs. We're talking about
No,
if
it's
you're
still-
the minister of police and you get an email from someone in the top, in the senior executive of the New Zealand Police.
Oh,
that would-
from Costa,
that-
you mean? Right,
Yeah,
right.
well,
yeah,
not just from Costa, but from
From
anyone in
some
that
of the
senior
other-
executive.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, that's,
And you would go, oh, this probably is important.
What
as
emails did he
opposed to
miss,
Joe
though?
Blogs and,
that's
So he
Greymail.
missed the emails of allegations from Miss X,
the
that's what they call
lady
her.
as well, yeah.
But
Mrs.
was there
Ivana.
senior executives that emailed him too? Is that what they're saying?
Well, what they're saying is that there was correspondence that was being sent through from senior executives on matters to do with all of this,
Yeah,
and
that's interesting.
that those were not being passed on. And we're talking about dozens. So if you want to, we can put it down to bureaucratic ineptitude or inefficiencies or whatever. But I mean,
It's a lot of
No,
nuance.
there's
eh?
human. There's just.
and
human
I'm not
failure.
saying that Mark Mitchell actually was cognizant of the problem that was going on.
of course.
I'm saying it's pretty lackluster. And I'm not, look, I'm sure he's a great guy. Met him at the airport once. Lovely guy. But, I don't think that's, no, this didn't start on his watch. So you can make the argument that this is maybe more in Chris Hipkins' domain. He should have been more
Yeah.
aware, should have been paying closer attention. Sounds like he was told by Costa, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that there probably needs to be a bit more attention on that. And I think that they've focused more on Mark Mitchell, which is a little bit.
Well, it just shows you the media bias towards hit pieces on the coalition. Probably the last thing I would say about the issue is how did all of this existing and a handful of people knowing, including Costa, how did Costa allow him to still be put forward for the commissioner job without re-raising or without actually saying no? He gave a vote of confidence
Who are we talking about?
for McSkimmon.
Costa gave a vote of
for
confidence
the top job of commissioner.
to
Yeah,
replace
so I
him.
think that's a separate problem. But
that's a problem that we don't talk
people
about.
so people have been saying, oh, that's corruption. Others have been saying it's not. Some have said it's corruption, and then they've backtracked.
People like the IPCA.
People like Bryce Edwards is still maintaining that this is corruption. And look, the average person looks at the situation and goes, yeah, this is corrupt.
Yeah.
Right. Now, fair enough. You can argue over whether you want to take a strict legal definition or a popular definition, but
What
there's-
about a real definition?
there's but there's a real problem here, right? There's a real problem.
Why are we afraid to use the word corruption?
I don't think we're afraid to use it, but it's probably more a question of if you're if you're a minister, government minister,
Yeah.
and you say corruption, there are legal implications to that. So,
All right.
others outside of the decision-making process,
Yeah.
outside of the hierarchy, can say stuff like that, and they can be hyperbolic if they want as journalists. or
Especially for a police organization whose entire function relies deeply on trust.
Yeah.
The moment a minister says, "Oh, it's corrupt," that's a real hit at the trust of
Yeah,
police.
but then all the
If you-
ministers
I-
keep coming out and saying the same line, which is, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. I've heard Colin say that. I've heard Luxon say it. I've heard Mitchell say it. I've heard Peters say it. I'm
Yeah,
like,
but that's why I say. But that's
come out
why,
and say
But that's why
corruption.
I think they've backtracked because but this is my point though is there's a moral corruption there.
yeah.
But if we're talking about legal
Institutional
corruption that
corruption,
meets
yeah.
a legal definition, then they probably had to walk that back for that reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not. Well, my point is not so much that. My concern is that you've got McSkimming, who clearly is corrupt because he's suppressing information.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
doing illegal things, very illegal things, very horrible things, and he's using his power in that situation to control and manipulate, and even try and advance himself. Costa has shown very bad judgment and has trusted someone despite all the red flags, and he shouldn't have trusted
yeah.
him. And I think that's a little bit different to the corruption that we might normally talk about. You can argue if you want, you can call it corruption. I'm not sure I would quite go that far as to call it corruption, but I would call it judgment that deserves.
Incompetence.
I would call it that.
Yeah.
Incompetence in the sense of you've shown very bad judgment,
Yeah.
and that's had major damaging kind of consequences or implications for your
100%,
organization.
yeah.
So you should go. There's no question he should have stayed on the job.
Oh,
He
totally.
absolutely had to go. I would just want to try and be a bit more precise about the language, because I think there has been corruption here, but I think who's guilty of corruption? Is Mark Mitchell guilty of corruption? If he hasn't seen these emails and they've come through, or he's seen it and not understood the importance of it. Is Hipkins guilty of corruption? We don't know enough detail. It's a bit hard to know, and you've got hearsay really. So all of that, aside, I think the problem here is we've got people that aren't doing the right thing. They're not being virtuous
Yeah.
in their roles.
Yeah.
And
I
I think that's the problem that
Yeah.
New Zealand has to face is there's a crisis of virtue.
That's right.
But
I agree.
this is the thing that I think a lot of people will be annoyed about, where when it's so blatantly obvious, or it appears, sorry, I shouldn't say when it is, when it appears to be so blatantly obvious on the facts that are publicly available, even though some of them are anecdotal evidence, and the responses from the individuals involved would tell a very clear story on the basis of response and human nature. We then are not even allowed to like call it out. It has to go through this whole process where it becomes slowed down, watered down. I believe, obviously, in the Legal Threshold, I did that interview about whistleblowing the other day, and that was a big issue where it was like, well, there's a public perception, but then there's a legal definition. So obviously, the legal definition has to be upheld. But I think that's where people are getting really frustrated, where it's like, well, this is blatantly this thing that we can see, but now we have to wait for you to confirm it through this like laborious and litigious process that will
process,
effectively,
though, right?
Well, due process exactly. But I'm trying to say that's where I think the frustration comes in.
Of course. And of course it's frustration. But people are frustrated when someone who's been caught like red-handed, committing murder has to go through the process. Some people would just rather lynch them.
Do you know?
right there
Do you know
and
what's a really good example?
Mm.
How those all those young guys on the internet at the moment are going around and catching child predators,
then. Yeah.
and in many cases they can't arrest those guys because
For their vigilante.
no,
You mean the actual
predators. They can't
predators.
arrest them because it was entrapment.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah,
Well, that's the difficulty is that the police sometimes do that. So I'd be curious. And again, I'm not a lawyer, but I'd be curious to know how police prosecutions can succeed in some of those instances.
they must have to get sign off to do a.
Does that? But in principle, is it not still entrapment?
I
Even
suppose,
if you get permission to do it.
but if I break into your house because I believe you have something that belongs to me and look for it, then that would be breaking and entering. But if the police get a warrant, that would be a lawful search.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not against cops, trying to find people online, and if it means posing with someone who's underage in order to lure them in.
Yeah.
Because those guys are out there and they're
easy.
looking.
It seems like
Yeah.
these guys on the internet are doing it quite easily. And I know the police probably have huge operations where they target the most violent offenders, but these social media guys are catching, like, I would say, early stage offenders. Some of them repeat offenders, but they seem to catch a lot of guys who are just idiots.
Yeah, and again, the danger is that vigilantes can skip a whole lot of time-tested steps or procedures that allow us to actually tell whether there is a genuine case or not. And sometimes sometimes we can, it's a bit like true crime, amateur detectives. I mean, that's cool, but we have actually developed these systems, even if these systems are now overloaded and we can't fund them properly and we can't find enough people to put on juries and blah, 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 blah.
I've never been on jury duty. I want to be on one.
Is it
Yeah.
paid?
No.
What?
It's like really low rate, eh? Like you have to take annual leave,
What
and
the
then
hell?
I think they pay you at like a pretty low rate.
I've been summoned.
Is that what
summoned
it's
for
called?
jury duty.
Summoned?
Yeah.
Is that the official term?
Yeah, summoned or
That's
summoned.
awesome. That's
Um,
sick.
And I was actually a double murder trial at the High Court.
Oh,
And I was number 14.
out of
12, eh?
So they got 12 before me.
they need 12 to do what? So
To
what is
form
it?
a
Jury of your peers.
So I made the final cut,
Yeah.
except I was number 14. So
You were the guy where if they had discovered like an undisclosed conflict or had done some further cushioning, you might have been pulled in, eh?
yes. So I was on standby if something had happened.
So you did end up going in.
If something had happened where
There's
one
a
of the
whole
others
science
to
behind
the
how lawyers build juries as well, eh? Like
Yeah.
like psychology,
Psychological
and,
profiling.
yeah, profiling.
Wow.
And so they know that certain demographic of person will be more like sympathetic to their victim based on
Whoa.
age,
That's pretty
location
sick.
where they live, things like that. So in the cushioning process, they're like looking at you first of all, like are you X ethnicity, and then they'll question you. What do you do with your
They
spare time?
profile
Da, da, da.
you, yeah.
So they're like expert profilers.
Nathan's absolutely right. You saw this on that Kim Kardashian drama as well, eh?
What's that? Kim Kardashian. I watched that movie. No, not a movie.
That one that's
the
been
documentary.
absolutely panned by all the critics.
Oh, I
It's got
haven't
like
seen
it's
this.
got like 0 stars.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't even
So
seen
bad.
it. Kim Kardashian should get 0 stars in general, but no, I watched a movie. I watched a few court movies, like lawyer movies. There's one with Matthew McConaughey and Samuel L. Jackson from way back in the day.
Time to Kill.
Time to Kill.
The John
And I
Grisham,
think-
John Grisham
Yeah,
book.
yeah.
originally,
And I think that was the movie where they talked a bit about the jury building process.
Yeah.
But have you seen that documentary or that docu-series called Jury Duty?
No.
And they take James Marsden, the actor who's in like Sonic,
Mm.
and they put him on a jury, and he's the only one who knows what's going on. But it's his job to like And they all know it's him. Like they're all like, "What's James Marsden doing on our jury?" So he acts like a real Hollywood dick, and he's like, "Oh, I don't want to be here. I'm famous." Da da da. Da. But then all this crazy stuff starts happening, and it's a fake trial with like and the jury's real though, and they just show them all these curveballs. It's really funny, and they film it all, and they put them in a house all together, and they all have to live there, and he just tries and disrupts everybody.
Well, I know a number of people, like family members and friends, who have done jury duty where there was one instance where my wife was actually called, and I can't remember what the charges were, but basically people wrote this guy off because he had facial tattoo, and instantly dismissed, his innocent plea because of the appearance of this guy.
There's so many factors that they take in when it comes to whether your court will be hampered by public perception.
Yeah.
So like that's why name suppression is a big thing. So it's like, if it gets out who this person is, it could tamper with the jury selection process.
But it's interesting because I remember Tracy was telling me, like, she initially she was like, oh, he looks a bit guilty. And then she started hearing people say it for the reasons that she kind of initially thought, and then she thought, hold on a second, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Was he guilty in the end?
Well, she ended up. It sounds. Have you ever seen that? There's a play called 12 Angry Men.
No.
It's from the 1950s or 60s, and it's about this jury process and how these guys back then, because there were no women on juries, how these guys all kind of try and jump to conclusions at the start, and then there's one juror number. Anyway, and he decides he can see there's a problem here, and he gradually convinces everybody and wins them over, and that, like, Tracy was literally juror number
whatever it was,
7 or 8 or whatever it is. Yeah. It was cool.
And then he got off and killed 17. And Tracy
No.
has to live with that every day.
And this is the point. It wasn't that. This guy had a criminal history, right? And he did look rough. But what they realized is that there were really major problems with the way that the police had put the case together. So even if there had been some truth to it, based on the evidence presented, they couldn't reasonably arrive at the
How
conclusion.
many cases have fallen apart because of the day? Because of police mishandling evidence.
Well, but we shouldn't enable police, to continue to put shoddy work forward when they do.
Yeah. There was a case
because we're enabling them
Yeah.
to continue to do that.
There was a case that I can't remember the specifics of it, but I know it got dismissed because key evidence was left in the trunk of a car overnight.
Yeah.
So stuff like that is like reasonable doubt
I've
enough
heard
that you
about
could
this.
say,
Yeah.
someone could have touched that evidence, or it could
Yeah.
have been altered in that period of time that it was away from the scene and not registered. And the guy just went home because he was tired and was like, I'll check it in the morning.
That's cool.
It's like the key piece of evidence.
Yep.
Maybe it was the O.J. Simpson case. Government one-stop shop app,
Yeah, I got the app yesterday. I went and got it.
and you brought it into my house.
Yeah, it's in your house.
What's worse?
We're a civil liberties
Yeah,
organization.
and I went and got the.
We're railing against state surveillance of this.
I was the
of this
first
type.
one to-
And Arian's the first one to sign
What's
up.
Arian's biggest blunder this week? Downloading the app and then bringing it to my Wi-Fi network, or showing up to the cafe with a tummy bug and shaking our hands?
You know what? There's a third option. Arian failing to read the minutes of our organization.
Yeah. What do we stand for again?
And our mission.
What do we stand for? I got the app.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay.
Can I have a look?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
What iPhone do you have?
11, I think.
I'm sure it's okay. I'm sure it functions.
It functions. It's quite funny when you first download it. It doesn't ask for any details. I haven't added anything. And every time, as it's explaining, it says, "Oh, we're not holding any of your data. We're not tracking anything." It's just these constant notifications that tell you that they're not holding on to anything, which
look at
is
Just reassuring.
semi-reassuring.
Reassuring you that your worst fears will not come true.
Yeah.
Recently viewed services: moving home, enrolling to vote and voting, passport, visa, citizenship.
Yeah, it was just stuff I was clicking on. And
Yeah, just someone's clicking on it.
yeah, and it says, "Oh, if you do put any information into the app, it's stored on your phone."
Digital
so-
wallet coming soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. It's going to be so convenient.
Your privacy is protected. No,
Yeah,
well,
see?
the digital. No, but this is the thing. The digital trust framework
Yeah.
has some really good protections
Yeah, it's
for
practical.
data.
Yeah.
It has been written in a way that you would hope this sort of thing would be written.
Yeah.
My problem is that once you get all the shrimp in the pot, what stops you from then turning on the gas? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so we all
No,
adopt it.
that's-
Oh no, these guys are all good. Like,
I like
it's-
that
it's-
metaphor.
Pillar will
it's-
stop
it's-
them.
Please
Yeah.
expand on your
Well, it's building the
shrimp
framework.
base.
Well, it's building the
Recipe.
framework, right? The framework exists.
Yeah.
It therefore
That's true.
exists for anybody's use who has the authority to use it. So it's the same as any piece of legislation or any system. While it might be good in theory, it ultimately will be as successful as whoever is using it.
I don't disagree with you generally speaking, but could you say the same thing about police? Like the moment you have police, you can now do whatever you want as the state, right?
Absolutely.
So we shouldn't have police.
It's not that we shouldn't have police. It's that we should be very careful about what powers we give them.
Yeah.
Well, can you explain a bit more what you mean?
Well,
What do you
I think what Nathan's saying is the moment you have the framework for a digital system, a
Yeah,
digital ID system, right now it's functioning well and we're looking after it. And
No, I
data's
understand that,
protected,
but your analogy to the police.
Now I'm saying, look, we have the police as a framework where we're giving the state basically a monopoly on power and violence, and the state can do whatever it wants.
Yeah.
But we have a framework where we trust them to just operate within this framework.
Well, we have a system of accountability, checks
Yeah,
and balances that should operate. Yeah.
It's not exactly always working. And you think everyone who joined the SS
No.
Or the diehard Nazi.
Hold on. What I'm saying is, if you're saying, oh well, we should be worried about digital ID because this framework here could be abused. I'm saying the police could be abused to enforce an authoritarian
But
regime.
you should be critical of everything like
No,
that.
totally, and that's what I'm saying. And so,
Weren't you born in Iran?
yeah, I was.
You're gonna be more critical about these things.
Well, I am. I am.
But
I-
really, this is an
I think we're on the
argument.
same page. here.
No. I want to fight with you right now.
Yeah,
I don't want to argue about this.
We got a lot of rockets, so watch out.
Whoa. that's racist, man.
It's the concentration of information that makes us vulnerable.
And the other thing with it is like the police is obviously you've got a human element from top to bottom. With this, there's a human element at the top, and it's a lot less prone to moral objection in its operation because it's all digital. It'll be AI backed and powered.
Yes,
so ultimately,
yeah,
there will
it's
be
so much easier to
and
control the digital
it'll
world
be able
than
to
it is.
easily
yeah,
control from top
of
down.
course.
Where if someone at the top of the police decides we're going to start arresting people,
They do something.
frontline cops could
yeah,
push
they
back.
do something illegal or
Yeah.
unconstitutional. Yeah, unconstitutional. Yeah,
Unconstitutional.
That's the one. Hey, I had a stroke. All right, so 6 years ago.
there
so
you go.
don't hold it against me.
English is my seventh language.
Wow, well done. Ni hao.
You're from Korea.
Korea. It's actually French.
No, so coming back to this concentration of information, right? So if you're vulnerable because all of that information is stored in one sort of system, right? And then that particular system, like you say, doesn't have 15,000 people, all playing their part, but therefore, to some degree, 15,000 people also kind of trying to keep each other accountable. This could be controlled by one or two people effectively if they have the skills to manipulate that system. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so there's a few issues with mass collection of data and holding it in a space. Now, at the moment, they're saying it doesn't leave your phone; it just exists on your phone.
Yep.
But again, the framework exists that later that could be changed. And I've seen other.
I mean, they have
platforms-
a portal into your phone,
Exactly.
right? And so most people that aren't.
Do they?
Well, most of us.
You
aren't-
welcomed it in by downloading it onto your phone.
Yeah, you've established a pathway,
Yeah.
an easy sort of access pathway for that system
Yeah.
to communicate with your phone.
Yes.
It's there now. So all they would have
The
to
app
do is
is. I can
unlock
delete
the
the
door.
app.
You could delete the app, and that's how you would get
Yeah,
out of it right now. And like you say, you haven't uploaded any personal details. So the collection and the centralization of data, for me, has a few issues because you create a treasure trove for hackers, which
Chinese,
we know has Chinese malware from Russia. All these things we know already exists. You also create, say, I am like fully committed to the ID. So I get rid of my driver's license, my passport. I have no more physical anything. I then do something that annoys the state, and they restrict my access to my documents, and therefore my ability to participate in certain things like travel, driving, accessing ID information, things like that, right? So that could very realistically happen. And it has happened in China, where they can restrict all of your purchasing power.
Yeah.
So they now have control over bank accounts, ability to move, travel, associate in some form. So those are my two biggest concerns.
Yep.
And the thing with Collins is she's been very good at saying
Judith Collins?
She's been very good at making it clear that it won't be obligatory or mandatory, but it will be the best experience possible. It'll be the path of least resistance. It'll be so amazing, so fun. Like, I don't imagine they'll ever introduce an incentive or a reward, but the other channels will become so much more inconvenient that this one will be the best one.
So it's going to be like electronic transactions at the store as opposed to cash.
To cash, exactly.
Right, paying like an actual tangible cash.
Yeah.
But that's not because they've made cash less convenient. Cash is just
No,
That-
no,
that's
but they
just
made
convenient.
the electronic systems more convenient.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
cash
yeah,
is
sure.
cash. It's still doing what it used
and
to
so
do.
yeah.
But what happens is people's sort of like tolerance decreases.
yeah, they're just lazy.
Yeah, especially shop owners or businesses, right? They go, no, this is more efficient. It's more convenient for us. So let's just keep moving towards this. Like it's progress.
And now some shops don't accept cash.
The big hurdle
and
will
then
be
that denies the user
choice.
their choice.
the big hurdle will be whether or not it actually is good. So the example that I've been thinking of recently is call centers. So back in the day, if you had an issue with your phone, and I'll use One NZ because that's who my carrier is. I used to go into the store a lot, and I'd get a new phone. I'd be able to sort my plan out. Then they said, "Oh, you know what? Instead of coming in, you can call us." So then I'd be able to ring and talk to someone on the phone, and it was more convenient for them, a little bit more convenient for me because I don't have to go physically to a store now. Then they outsource it to a call center internationally, where someone can't speak English, right? Now it becomes less convenient for me, more convenient for them, and it's a hurdle. And then in some cases, they outsource it to a fully automated system where it's all just computer generated. So then I find myself trying to work my way back to the original, which is going to the store, which now I just go into the store anytime I have an issue with my
Nice.
phone, my plan,
Yeah.
my billing.
So good.
And I'm back at square one of convenience, where it's inconvenient in their mind, but the most convenient for me. So all of that to say, if the app is not efficient, if it's not accessible and it's not smooth,
won't use it.
people won't use it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's the biggest hurdle, if they can find the right developers. Now, the thing is, what is the right developer? Is it someone who makes a good app or is it someone who's trustworthy?
Yeah.
Or both.
Yeah. Or is there a both? Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
often it's just the one that has the best lobbying, group around that can win the
Government
contract.
digital ID brought to you by Zuru.
Oh, I see what you did
I
there.
want to meet Nick Mowbray. I like some of his comments that he makes on X.
Is that Anna's wife? Anna's
It's her
husband.
brother. It's her brother.
Ah, yeah.
He's donated to ACT and National.
No, well, he often has some really level-headed takes on. Well, I haven't seen anything he's said that I've disagreed with. I haven't looked at everything he's ever said, but I often find him commentating on issues in a way that I enjoy.
Yeah.
So I want to have a chat with him and see.
Well,
what
he and his
thoughts are.
brother are the richest people in New Zealand. So
Are they?
yeah,
I
Is
didn't know
it Nick, Anna, and his brother?
yeah. So she
The
I
three
think
of them put
she
together
cashed
Zero.
out of the business, a while ago, and their business has gone
Through the
sky
roof.
high.
I didn't
good
even
on
know
them.
who they were, but I saw the
20-something
toys.
billion.
everywhere.
It's good money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
20
I want to know
billion.
how they get their licensing agreements with like the NBA because they make. I was at the warehouse and I
Are they
saw.
with the NBA?
Yeah, so there's a whole like Zuru. I didn't even know anything about them, but
Yeah.
I just saw these Zuru toys everywhere because Ezra loves it.
Yeah.
And then later found out that it's a Kiwi company, but they have brand deals with like huge companies like
Yes.
the NBA
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they had a brand deal with like a camera company as well, and they make toys of all these things.
Yes. Yeah.
But I wonder how they secure that. That must be like a pretty hard agreement.
Well,
to
I
get
mean,
through.
they got access when you're that big. You got
Once you're in
20-something
the
billion.
system, I think you've got. We had someone from Zuru come into uni to talk to us about like their projects and things, and I think,
Oh, really?
yeah, and he was a guy who did the same course as we did. It was a younger guy.
Listen, it's made my life as an adult so much better.
Zuru.
Yeah,
Why?
because when I have water fights with water bombs,
Oh, they do the
Oh, the thing.
do you know how time
Pretty gnarly.
consuming, how laborious it was to try and tie individual
Yeah.
water bombs on
Thank
the
you,
tap?
Zuru.
Do you reckon they just
Now,
have a Nobel Peace Prize?
You
for it?
use that multiple prong
Yes,
thing,
that's so
and it
cool, eh?
fills like 50 of them up at one time in a bucket.
So sick.
We just
and
need
then
to
you
figure
just
out how
go
to
at
do
it.
that with like nuclear.
Yeah.
You laughed a bit too hard there.
Well, I just need this app to start working so it can be more.
Nah,
efficient.
the app I imagine it'll become. My big concern with the app is that it'll just sit there, and people will adopt it
in the
probably-
moment there's an emergency.
Yeah, and then there'll be some sort of emergency where we're all pushed towards the app, and by then it's had enough users to work out any bugs, and by the time we're all on it, it's pretty slick, and then that's when they close the gate behind us, and we're in it now.
Roll.
I'm never
in
going
there.
to mark my words. I will never download the app.
I've got it. I'll be your voice.
You'll have to,
I'll
you have
be
to
your
tie
voice.
me down, and good luck, and Face ID scan me to get me in the app.
I can see you right now with your straw farmer's hat down in Fiordland.
I want to
on a
live
ice-
somewhere
on
like
a,
that.
by a river mouth, isolated, valley. something
Living the
like
good
that.
life.
Yeah,
They can come for me, but they're not going to enjoy it.
there are people like that
They're
down
not
there.
going to enjoy it.
They're ready for you.
Get my golden
They're
retriever out
calling
there.
your name, Nathan.
Let's get us. Arian, you wrote an amazing piece yesterday.
Oh, you're very kind.
Tell us
Who was
about this.
that?
Tell us about how the youth in Australia are finally free of depression, anxiety, and the harms of social media.
Well, it's banned now. Social media is banned for under 16s.
Come on.
Amazing.
All over
Crazy.
Australia.
All over Australia.
Wow.
Kids are finally off social media. Can you believe it?
Even Norfolk Island. Is Norfolk Island affected?
I don't know where that is. What's that?
Don't worry about that.
Okay,
Karen.
too young. Too young and too stupid.
young for geography.
Too young, too stupid.
Okay,
Pictures,
anyway,
the picture's missing off his brainwaves.
how's Australia going?
Well, they're doing great. Mental health is just finally fixed, which is really good.
Praise
so,
God.
so
Come on
youth,
now.
youth mental health is dealt with. They're all outside playing games, hanging out with each other,
Reading books?
reading books, exercising. It's
And
heaven.
parents finally
Parents-
parent again.
They can say no.
Wow.
Parents have been
Australia.
empowered to use to say no. I was going to say the N word, which is the no word.
They can't say the N word, but
Honestly,
they can say
for
that.
some parents, it's just as taboo as the
Yeah,
other N-word.
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
No, listen, not since the days of Steve Irwin has Australia been more prosperous.
No, this
And
is.
I'm excited for
The
this.
sun has risen.
I woke up this morning, I looked over to the horizon where Australia was, and it was just the hope that
So
was instilled in me.
Well, to be honest, I mean, along with Bindi Irwin and Rob Irwin, their
Yeah.
success on Dancing with the Stars, Australia's riding high right now.
Like
They're
everyone's
getting
going
like
there.
all this world press,
Yep.
You
Yep.
watched Dancing with the Stars.
No, I just read the headlines.
I
know where
saw
Norfolk
something on
Island
social
is.
I
I
saw
know where
something on
Norfolk
social
Island
media
is.
about them being on Dancing with the Stars. I forgot Dancing with the Stars and American Idol stuff like that still happened.
Robert
'Cause-
Irwin got a perfect score. I'll just have you know for his Paso Doble or whatever it was.
Who's
he
that?
did. This is Steve Irwin, the crocodile
his
hunter's son. Yeah.
His son's doing quite well within the business. He's
Anyway, carry on. So social media.
sorry,
in
social
Australia.
media.
no. Look, it's done.
Guys,
it's
if
over.
I have to explain all of my my
no,
political
references,
my geographical references. Anyway, carry on.
No, I was just. I think I might have to move to Australia just because it's such a beautiful and heavenly place now that
Yeah.
social media is banned.
Perfect.
So that's happened, but that's obviously notwithstanding that all the youth have gone to Chinese apps.
Red note.
Red Note, which is quite interesting. I mean, if they're just going to different apps, and interestingly, they're Chinese owned.
mean,
and
When you say Chinese owned, you mean companies based in China?
yes,
Yeah, that are subject to Chinese law.
yes,
Well, they are literally state owned. Yeah.
everything
So,
in China.
so that's right. So
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Chinese government have. Let's not get onto our other,
Rather boogeyman.
topic,
Well, it's
but-
funny how they converge
They all
the
converge.
Chinese and the surveillance. And
Although I did see a really interesting post that Eric Crampton from the initiative shared
Oh, yeah?
yesterday, where someone had some sort of platform app where it never had a messaging function, but because of the ban, they just coded a messaging function in the morning of.
Because it's not that hard to do.
It's not
is it,
that
for
hard
these
to do.
guys?
Yeah. And he said, I just spoke into my phone, so I'm assuming you use some sort of AI coding
Yeah, wow.
generator. And then he's like, and now we have a messaging function
Wow.
on this app. And Eric was like, this is exactly what's going to happen. Like
They'll just pop up.
Young-
It's
yeah.
whack-a-mole.
young people will just start their own apps.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's true.
it's
It's
so
like,
easy.
man. And they should. And
Well, AI has made it so quick and easy to do that.
yeah, well, I know a bunch of guys who are making apps who prior to 3 years ago had no experience in that space.
Sure.
But AI is just fast
makes
tracks
it
it.
so easy.
It is a
Makes it
revolution.
so
Have you seen
incredible.
one of the councillors in Australia who was really pushing for the ban, the communications minister? I think her name's Annika Wells or something.
Annika Wells, yep.
You see, she's getting bailed up for spending like thousands and thousands of dollars of taxpayer money on like taking her husband to the AFL grand final, on keeping a car outside the Australian Open for her for 7 hours. Like, this lady's the one, she's standing at press conferences being like, talking about like, we need to protect kids, or we're doing this because it's the morally right thing to do.
Yeah.
Was it the morally right thing to waste taxpayer money? Like, all of these people who grandstand and like sledge us about being normal people are like the worst humans. You know what I mean?
No, I do. I actually do. It's just this.
And speaking
I
of Willie
cringe.
Jackson, I want
Well, and that principal in the South
Yeah,
Island, right? Who
she's
came
going
out
around
saying,
bloody
we've been
Queenstown.
delivered mouldy school lunches. Turns out staff had probably made some sort of accident, left the lunches from the previous week in a box, and then heated them up the following
Did
week.
you see what she said initially? She's like, we don't even have capacity to heat up food at our school. We don't have the ability. On the website, they're boasting about having a commercial grade kitchen.
Yeah, I saw that. And then, then this is the best part, is that it turns out that she and 5 other senior staff went to Queenstown on an $18,500
Wow. That's a
team,
lot of
team building
money.
exercise. Yes, there was a conference there as well, but blah 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 blah. Blah.
Yeah, the conference didn't happen on the shot over jet though,
Yeah,
did it?
but they went, that's the point, is that there is this kind of, there's a culture that exists, not just in government, but in a lot of areas of our society, which is like, we're entitled to all of this.
Psychotic.
The funny
people,
thing is,
yeah.
she comes out, and David says she's a frequent flyer in the media. He gets absolutely slammed for bullying her.
Yeah.
Google her. She's got more articles about her this year than most MPs.
Well, I think the whole, even
Yeah.
just the whole,
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
this whole idea of bullying people for calling something out or thinking that you're calling something out is nonsense. If you're an adult and you live in a democracy, then you have every right to go call something out, but you also have to expect that people are going to push back.
Yeah, tell her to
And
shut
if
up.
it's a politician,
But she's been caught in. She got fired from her last school for. I think she fired
fired,
someone.
was she fired?
Yeah, well, she was fired, but then she won a wrongful dismissal case.
Right.
But the school effectively was like, well, we'll just pay you out. We'll pay you 150 grand because we stand by firing you. We didn't do all the process properly, but we stand by firing you, and it was justified firing you. We shouldn't do it the
They
correct
just-
legal way.
So due process.
Due process, exactly. And we're
See,
back
it's so
at
important,
square
guys.
one.
It's so important that we can't just be vigilantes here.
No,
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
we're not.
But nah, mate.
So
The under 16 ban, eh?
look, we've had some good comments come out from the ACT Party, I think, and the inquiry into the harms on social media for young people that came out yesterday in New Zealand as well, which was interesting timing.
And all of
The-
which
the
is
report,
valid.
the interim
right?
report.
Yeah, we need
Oh, totally.
parents.
I mean,
I think
everyone
parents
knows
have
about
been in the dark for too long. Not because they couldn't have gone and looked, because they get busy with their lives and they assume someone responsible is managing
Government.
content that their kids are
Government will look
accessing.
after my children.
Yeah, but that's a mistake, and it's cost people their lives.
Yeah.
We had this guy who commented on one of our posts that I made a comment about how platforms, alongside developing algorithms, actually develop pretty robust security
Yeah.
and filtering processes as well.
Yeah.
The only thing is the algorithm happens automatically, but the security processes have to be activated.
Right.
So he goes to me, he goes in the comments, oh, yeah, right, I see horrible stuff online every single day, which is more a reflection of what you're looking at than anything. I said, well, did you have the parental controls activated? Obviously not. And then he didn't reply to me, so
Yeah, and I think that's
I won.
Well, that's the thing, is like, we don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We can all agree that there's major problems with the type of content that young people can access. But then the question is the solution. And,
Keep the baby in the bathtub. Just, get rid of the water. No?
Do you know what that? I don't even know how to respond.
do go on.
No. I just think we should keep the baby in the bathtub.
He doesn't get it in.
No, I do. I've
I
worked
think,
about-
Matt, look, listen, I'm too old.
No.
too
Let
old.
me. Look, I've got a couple of things to say. First of all,
Take us away.
I've said
Take us away.
the other thing about this whole, and I'm going to sound like a terrible person, and blah blah blah. I don't have children. I get it. I mean this. Sure, there is bad stuff on the internet, but people say, "Oh, kids see bad stuff," and then they go and do crazy things, as if it's like this direct link. And it's like, oh, you've seen something on the internet and now you've gone and hurt yourself, or you've gone and done something, or you've gone and said something. First of all, they don't often define what the bad stuff is. Sometimes it's just these ideas that these women who are leading this cause don't like, or men sometimes, people. They don't like the idea that, oh, there's stuff on the internet about traditional gender roles. They call that like misogynistic. First of all, that's part of it. The other part of it is there is some real bad stuff on the internet, but they draw this line as if like someone sees something on the internet and instantly it goes to terrible action, as if there's not a variety of other factors about the child's home, the child's education, the background, the age. Like there's so many other stuff that influences the actions of a young person. That's not to say the ideas they come across are, we shouldn't think about that, but it's like, oh, this is the big, I really don't think this is the big boogeyman. It's a boogeyman. And you guys might disagree.
I mean,
But it's like, oh, social media is, and you go around, people go around and say, oh, the social media did this to my child. It's like, you also didn't parent your bloody child. And
There he goes. He's on his bloody again.
I mean, I don't know. I would agree that it's a problem, but it's not the only problem.
yeah,
I think it's hard to argue though with some of the not just correlative effects, but like the causal effects
yeah.
that are pretty well documented now. If I sat my kids down in front
Yeah.
of some of the content that is available to teenagers, as my kids, or my oldest is
Yeah.
going to be a teenager soon, I'd be extremely concerned. I think it could have very, very detrimental effects, especially on certain types, especially on young girls.
Yeah, totally.
There's certain types of content, and for boys, I'd be worried too. But I just wouldn't encourage them to. I wouldn't permit them to go on some of these forums, and I'd have to be sure that I knew what kind of stuff they were
Absolutely.
getting into.
Tell me what you think about this. I think I know you, and I would say you're a great parent, and your children love you and trust you. Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah. Keep going.
Just check it out there.
They think I'm an awesome dad.
Check
Yep,
it out there
carry
for
on.
legal protection. If we make any claims on the show, I like to make sure we're covered legally. Okay.
The moment if you sat down with them and they saw some of the stuff, I think their first reaction would be, "Oh, this is horrific. My dad's taught me better values than this." And that's not to say that it would have no influence or no effect, but I think that what you've instilled in them would be a defense mechanism. And it's-
Well, I think- yeah.
That's not at all to excuse what's on the internet.
No,
but I do also want to kind of emphasize your agency and the role you've played
Yeah.
as a parent.
And what I would say to that is there are certain things that are so graphic that are clearly illegal.
Oh, totally. That shouldn't-
You
I don't-
don't even really want your kids stumbling on.
No,
right?
they should
because
just be taken down because
Yeah.
they're actually illegal content.
There's more subtle stuff which I would still not want my kids being subject to because
totally.
at a certain age stage they're very, very vulnerable to that. Any kid really, but especially say young girls.
Yeah.
And so, should they be on it? No, I don't think so.
I think so. Yeah, I agree.
I think there's a lot of stuff they shouldn't be. Should they be able to message their friends though? Yeah. And then the question is, well, what functions, capabilities do those sort of messaging, apps have? Look, when it comes down to it, I just think that there's been so much, emphasis on the things that people already kind of largely agree on.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just not dealing with the stuff that we haven't, that we need to talk about, which is the method of how we parent and how, if any, any role the state has in this matter. That was a awkward sentence, but
No, absolutely. And I sent you guys this link about what the Americans are doing, or one of the states in America. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know the full details of it, but they have this bill that doesn't regulate content, and it's for child safety. What it does look to regulate is the literal algorithm or the addictive features on the platforms. Now that there's obviously you still have to be careful because you don't want to regulate.
And that would be a tricky one. Legally, how do you make that argument? Because there are lots of things that are addictive, not just substances.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
like-
Sugar's addictive. Caffeine's addictive. What? So we just ban sugar and coffee.
Yeah. So the question is, how much involvement can the state have, and apply,
totally.
and could you fairly apply that principle across other things?
Yeah.
My concern still is there will be addictive things out there, including social media and the internet.
100%.
But as parents, if we don't exercise our duty to care for our kids and in a preemptive sense, then it's on us.
Yeah, I think so.
And we have the power. See, if we didn't have the power to do that, then I would say, well, maybe there's a need then for state intervention. But we totally have the tools and the ability
As a parent,
and
yeah,
the power to do it.
Yeah.
It's a question of whether you have the moral resolve, right? And if you can't figure out, and spend some time researching some of this stuff and looking at it and using some really good
talk to your
apps that are out
kids.
there, some really good resources that are out there, then I think that this shouldn't be the problem for, for the rest of the country or the state to figure out. It's for you to figure it out.
Yeah.
Now, can you make arguments for the wider social harms that come from certain parents not doing their job as parents? Sure. Again, we're going to always have underage drinking. We're always going to have some kids that use drugs at a young age. Even if those drugs do become legal at some point,
Yeah.
that's still we would still agree it's not going to be good for kids
Oh,
to use
totally.
them.
Yeah.
There are certain antisocial behaviors that they might be influenced by, and parents don't do anything about that.
Yeah.
That's a problem,
Yeah.
right?
I agree.
Again, how much should the state intervene in these things?
Zero.
Well,
I don't want to see the state unless they come in to apologize for giving me too much IRD money. Bro, these guys always send me bills. Sorry, we overpaid you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you won't let me do my own calculations.
Wait, what do you mean they overpaid?
Bro,
What, are they
IRD,
taking money back?
Yeah, because like for parental leave, mat leave, all these things,
Oh
they're
my
like, oh, we
God.
gave you too much money.
What the hell?
Right.
I don't have it.
Do the maths
Sorry.
properly.
I don't
Well,
have the
then,
money.
no, then they just take it straight from your account. Like, you
Oh,
can't
really?
stop them. But anyway,
Dang.
Burn it down, man. No, no,
Wow.
I'm joking.
I got 2 parking tickets.
You're
Sorry, irrelevant.
I want to ask you a question quickly about before we wrap up about some of the sentiment around the world at the moment around the states. So
what?
Italy, the United States, the Italy Prime Minister, who's
Maloney.
historically been like a Trump fan and an Elon fan, has now said that they're investing more into their defense because they can't like depend on the United States as much,
Nice. Yeah.
which I think is a completely reasonable thing to expect of them. In all
Yeah,
nations,
look
that they
after
would,
yourself.
and this is exactly Trump's point.
Most
Why
definitely
is
Europe.
everybody piggybacking off the back of America's superpower status and their defense spending? Defend yourself because they're not chipping in their amount that they should be into terms of like UN payments
And they're perfectly
global
capable.
defense.
Yeah.
They are
Absolutely,
capable. Instead, they're spending their money on stupid rubbish.
Look, Europe,
Hotels
the EU
for asylum
especially,
seekers,
has an extremely strong economy when you compare it with other economies.
Yeah.
They're perfectly capable of increasing their GDP
Yeah.
I think so.
contribution
So,
on defense.
my question is, and my frustration is because I heard about it on ZB. Why does the world have this sense of entitlement that America will look after them for free?
Because they got used to it for decades. Right?
'Cause
For
they
it was
did.
75.
And why
80
is
years.
why is it villainous now that Trump's like, well, we're going to focus on America, and we're going to tariff you if you choose to operate with those who are not our allies. Like, why is he a villain for that?
I would say that the only thing where there might be a legitimate argument to push back on, and I'm not really saying it's because I believe it, but you could say, well, hold on, when there is already a war going on with Ukraine and Russia, who have shown that they're clearly antagonistic towards democracy, are threatening on your doorstep, literally on your front doorstep, then to suddenly whip away that support that you've got used to over 80 years could precipitate a massive catastrophe in terms of defense.
Yeah, but
So have they been ignoring the warnings? Yes,
Yeah.
because Trump was making these warnings in his first term.
exactly.
Right? Which is like nearly,
2016,
9 years ago. So,
Crazy.
so should they have been paying attention and actually taking him seriously? Yes.
Yeah.
They mocked him at the time, and lots of people in the US mocked him and said, "Oh, come on, don't be silly. You know, the US is foundational to NATO. Of course it is, but to what degree?" And so they ignored that, and then Ukraine came along, right? This invasion of Ukraine,
yeah.
and so at that point, they realized, oh, this stuff actually was probably reasonable.
Yeah.
I just
It was reasonable in principle, but now it's reasonable in practice as well.
I just get annoyed when I hear the journalists and people being like, "Oh, Trump is such a bad guy because he's not looking after us anymore." Are you the leader of your own nation, or are you not the leader of your own nation?
Like, people get they get comfortable, right? It's like we were talking about this whole issue around school lunches. Right? Now, I'm not against feeding kids that are hungry. I want to do that. I want society to find a way of responding to that type of need. But ultimately, we've got to address the root problem, which is that there are parents who, for some reason, have reached a point where they're not putting kids, they're putting lunches in their kids' lunchboxes.
Well,
And so you've got to go back to like first principles. And in this case, with defense and blaming Trump, they're completely ignoring first principles, which is you should ultimately try and be responsible for yourself. And if it's in the US national interest or sort of national interest to do something in this situation to help stabilize Europe, to keep it secure because they benefit too, sure, cool. But you should try and be more responsible for your own defense. If you're expecting the Americans to contribute more percentage-wise of their GDP than you're prepared for your own defense, I don't think there's an argument to be made against that. I think the only thing in terms of being pragmatic is just how quickly this happens, and you want to be careful that having already like had 3 years or 4 years or whatever it is now of the Ukraine-Russia war. That's going on right now, and Europe is on a knife edge in terms of what could happen next. If you suddenly whip away that support and cause a crisis, not just in terms of confidence, but in terms of your actual defense in Europe, that could be a problem. Now, Trump, though, to be fair, has to figure out how to actually get them to take him seriously, and so making those threats might get the European Union acting faster.
Yeah. They do. They
and
do
maybe
need
that's
to.
what he's trying to do.
I also think, yeah, absolutely, and I agree. And I think there's also a level of like a strategic approach from Trump here, or from the US, because I think they're preparing at least potentially to fight on multiple fronts. One, I think there's a pending conflict again with Iran and Israel, and everyone's talking about it, and that could happen within the next month. And so the US will be implicated in that. At the same time, you've got the China-Taiwan stuff happening.
Yeah, I think Taiwan's going to be the biggest
Yeah.
issue. Yeah.
And at the same time, you've got Venezuela, which is just an arm of Iran.
Yeah,
Or
because it's
they're
very
quite- they're
like
very
Hezbollah
connected.
and
Yep,
Iran have
yep,
both
yep.
had active
Yep,
involvement with,
with- yeah,
Venezuela. People dismiss that because they're like, "What are you talking about? It's in
No,
South
no, no.
America," but
Yeah,
no, it is.
yeah. And so I think he's strategically, I think he's pulling back
Yeah.
there so that he can prepare for Taiwan and Venezuela and Iran.
Sure.
And I think so. So there's also another layer.
And,
of,
and
like, we
and
actually just need
the
to get out.
EU leaders know that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
And what other people don't, I think what people also don't factor in is that Trump will get blamed because he's the one who comes out and says this stuff, and he's obviously in charge of the US.
Yeah, yeah.
But there is a very widespread feeling in the US that they have been involved in these international forever wars, and it's cost them a
Trillions.
huge amount of money, but it's also cost them in terms of veterans that have come home, disabled, those who've been killed, and so that has an impact on people. And do they want to get drawn into the next one like this if the European countries themselves aren't prepared to actually stump up enough
Oh,
cash?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah, not our job.
I think people just get used to it. People get used to the comfort.
And obviously, we say this as a nation who is dependent on American defense as well.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
We're
like,
not though.
we're not fully.
We're not
We're not in an active conflict.
We're not. No, we're not an ally.
Well,
in
yeah,
what sense?
We're not an official ally
We're
of the
not a
US.
defense ally. No.
Australians are.
Yeah.
So we were
Yeah.
ANZUS when we were involved in ANZUS.
Yeah.
We were an ally,
Yeah,
but because of our nuclear free stance,
yeah.
we
lost
pulled
it.
out. Yeah. So we're not an ally, and so when people think that America will come and rescue us and we don't have to worry about our defense, they're
No.
just
Chinese will come
and the Australians
Do
won't be able to
their thing.
defend us either
significantly. no.
unless it's in their national interest to try as a
I
defensive.
reckon.
Yeah.
I reckon if we need defense from the Australians, they'll hit us with the, but you have to become annexed. You have to be a state of Australia.
And ban under
I'd probably
16s.
agree to it.
Yeah, and you
that
have
point-
to let us control your internet.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
If
I'd
you're,
say,
if
over
you're
my
about to get
dead
taken
body.
over, if you're about to be attacked by China, then
You know
I'll
what I'd
be,
say?
yeah, okay,
you know
yep.
what I'd say if it was
Whatever you say, mate.
I'd say,
I'm with you.
Ni hao ma. Here we go. Learning
Well, han ha.
Cantonese.
Really?
I said I'm very well.
Grow a bit of
thank
food,
you.
man.
Huh? Grow better food.
Bit of food. No.
Look, I like Chinese food, but I mean, I think in a heartbeat we would join Australia
No,
if
I'm
it
joking.
really
I'm
came
obviously
down
joking.
to it.
Obviously,
Better
I
be.
want to join Australia and become a whole nation of the Gold Coast.
Half of us are already over there anyway.
when I went to
so-
the Gold Coast,
True.
there were so many Kiwis there.
Yeah.
This is back in 20. What year did I get married? 2017 when we got married. Went there for honeymoon.
Wow.
I just felt like I was in New Zealand,
Crazy.
bar
man.
the beach and the nice buildings and
And the
shops and stuff.
sharks. Yeah.
I didn't see any sharks, but mate. Anyway, look, fellas, it's nice to chat.
Talked for a while.
We've covered a lot of ground.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Did you hear what I said? Covered a lot of ground. I love to say it. You want to roll us a slow
Oh,
outro?
cover. Yeah, we did cover a lot of ground.
Christmas party next Friday, guys. Just remember that, please.
You're
Final
not
podcast
invited.
next week.
Yep.
Final podcast for the year.
Yeah, we should think about something for that.
Should we do Secret Santa? It doesn't really with 3 people.
Yeah, true. Who did you get?
Nah, slow outro us, mate.
Look, slow outro. Thank you all for listening. I did a moment where I paused the other week. That was really bad. But
Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Oh, what's that?
Oh.
That's from ages ago. Is it 2020?
Oh yeah, I just got sent it. Sorry. Anyway,
Nick just tried to false
Release
news us,
breaking
fake
news.
news.
no, I
us,
just
yeah.
got sent it, and I was like, oh. And
Breaking
then
news.
you're
That
absolutely
would've led
right.
to,
I was about to read the date. There we go.
That's what would have led to old mate's establishment in East Auckland. Anyway,
no. What
Sorry.
was this thing about the baby in the bottle? What was it?
no. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You won't get
Obviously, I know the saying,
won't get
don't
it,
throw
don't
the
worry.
baby out with the
Mate,
bathwater. I know,
slow
I
outro
get
us,
it.
Come
Look,
on, you won't understand.
it means- it means
don't
that-
throw, no, I know what it means.
You know what it
Don't-
means?
Don't throw the baby out with the
All right.
bathwater. I'm just saying, keep the baby and throw the water out.
Okay, no, okay. Anyway,
Look, if
slow
look,
outro.
look, if you got babies out there, I'm all for them.
You're digging a hole. You're digging such a hole.
All right, thank you all for listening or watching. Stay in touch, stay in tune. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Yeah, if you got a baby, keep it in the bathtub.
Oh my.
All right.
I cannot wait for you to have children. I'm so
I'll
excited.
keep the baby in the bathwater.
Nah, great job, guys. Great job.